Hey guys, in today's video, I'm gonna go over Apex's latest changes that they announced just last week. They sent out email blast to all affiliates just to let people know what could be undergoing the next few weeks here. And all of them are no new rules. It's just more about punishment to bad actors and saying no to the SRO, which we're gonna dive deep here. So they start off with the prop trading landscape has been experiencing rapid changes. Firms coming and going, they go under, they update the rules, they retroactive changes here across the last few weeks. They're talking about challenges that threaten long-term sustainability here, and just evolving program requirements, refining payout structures. So this is where it gets juicy here. The industry has grown, so too has a issue here: rise of bad actors exploiting the simulated trading environment. So as you know, most prop firms, majority of payouts from prop firms are from simulated profits. They do have a path to live, but not that many payouts are actually paid to live traders. I would say 90% of it at least is from sim payouts. So this is what they're talking about here. If they're exploiting the sim payouts, or if they're exploiting the sim trading environment, that's going to be bad news for a prop firm. So it goes on to they've seen increased exploitative behavior, often from coordinated groups here. And it ranges from hedging, extreme DCA, automated bots, high risk gambling approach here, and then particularly copy trading signal services. So I'm not sure what that really entails. I'm still like figuring out here. Does that mean Discord? Does that mean streamers? Because I also stream too. If my viewers take my trades, is that also copy trading in a way? If they're signal botting, that's a little grayer that I would like more clarifications on. It goes on to say a financial toll is significant. These activities have cost Apex millions of dollars each month. That is a big number. We know from the court case that Apex had to release and share to the public that Apex are making tens millions plus dollars per month in profits, in net profits. So that's after payouts, after paying out all their employees. They are still profiting. And now they've been having bad actors, which they are labeling here. And that is taking a toll in their profit margins. And, prop firms are a business. They help traders get money. They also need to focus on the business side. So you have these bad actors they are claiming taking millions of dollars each month from them. So they're going to really try to figure this out here. To counter these threats here, many firms have been adjusting rules, policies, especially around payouts. So it just keeps on going. Now they're going to be talking about SRO, which, if you know, Michael Tech, CEO of a Top Step here, basically talked about forming an SRO with many prop firms joining together, basically to catch all the cheaters, all the hedgers, any bad actors that Apex would be interested in too. But they're saying no. They're saying Apex would not be joining this SRO. They do value oversight from formal regulatory bodies, just not private ones. So they want, like, if a government want to step in or a government body want to step in, they're for it, but not from like a single private person or company. Yeah, instead of doing that, they want to invest heavily in their own tools and infrastructures. So they've been analyzing years of data, trading data, and built a sophisticated monitoring system that proactively flags abusive patterns and suspicious behavior. So these are going to be the behaviors here. And depending on the severity of the infraction, so what happens here, they're going to basically explain what they're going to, if you break a rule, they're going to really have something equivalent to that rule break. So probational measures here. Let's see here. In extreme cases, account termination, forfeit of profits, and permanent bans from the platform. So here are the key highlights of all the abuse types they're talking about. Hedging with Apex. That's terrible. So if you're like, this is so like easy that I don't know how some people are still doing it. Long Apex funded, short Apex funded. Like, I feel like that's so easy. That should have been a automatic forfeit ban there. And I guess they're saying that people are still doing it. Hedging between Apex and external platform. That basically means if I'm long Apex, short Top Step, they don't want that. People are still doing, but how do they know? That's just kind of difficult on its own. I think in this case, to combat this, the firm need to focus on their own sustainability. They need to copy trade their own live traders. You can't really do anything about if they are doing shady practices across different platforms here, across different prop firms. Cycling and churning simulated accounts. What that basically means is you're basically just getting a payout or aiming for a payout, and then just trying to go aggressive, trying to get another payout. But then you don't really care if you burn it because it's cheap counts. So you just keep on cycling and cycling it. Um, yeah. So this, I feel like it is also another fix. Maybe they just limit the amount of PA activation or even eval purchases, similar to Top Step, if they really have an issue with that. But it's also supporting their revenue. So at the same time, is that a problem? Maybe, depending on the who they're talking about. If it's the profitable traders that's milking them, that's a problem. But for the people who are blowing up, I'm sure the prop firms are loving that. Violation of risk management scaling rules. This is so key here because a lot of people, they start with a funded. They just, let's say a 50K account. I'm not sure if the max contract on 50K is it 10 contract. You're not supposed to do 10 contracts. I think you're only supposed to do half of the max until you get above the buffer. Some people, they just go full port, 10 contracts, let's say, and that's a rule break. But what happens is they would just trade 8 more days. They get denied payout. They trade 8 more days, and then it's magically disappeared. No rule break anymore. They're gonna go against that. So there's gonna be some punishments for that. Use of automated self set and forget bots. So I don't really mess with this, but I'm guessing they're not allowing just trading strategies where it's automated. It has to be human press, which is fair. This is a prop firm anyways. Their rules. And hedging trades over the market flows or through the weekends. Isn't that already like liquidating automatically? I'm not sure what this is really happening or if this is affecting anyone, because I feel like in this case, this rule, you'll just get liquidated. Anyways, and then lastly, or this is the big part, participation in trade following or signal services. So signal services could be just Discord, like someone like, oh, buy here, long here, here's a stop, here's an entry, here's a TP. Very clear, they don't want that. But trade following, this is where it gets interesting. What happens for, like, let's say YouTube streamers? I'm also streaming daily on YouTube. I do share my entries, share my stops, walk you through the setup. So what happens if I have like 1,000 viewers? What happens if like 100 of them take my similar to my trade, same entry, same stop, various TP? I'm not really sure what they could do about it, but if that's not allowed, that's gonna be challenging because even they're not taking my trade. I can also teach a trading model, and if we don't have to be coordinating, like, oh, they didn't long because I'd long, but if we're trading the same strategy, that could also correlate. So this is where it gets sticky here. I get the signal services in a way, halfly, partly, but it's a slippery slope when they're talking about trade following, because how do you know it's trade following when people take the same strategies? Take the trade model, because like you take unicorn trades, it's very simple, like long at the breaker, stop under the breaker, TP, and an extra liquidity. People trade very similar to like IST, or they trade order flow. People have similar strategies, so I feel like the trades would correlate if they stick to that discipline, to that model. So this is where it gets sticky for me. And yeah, this is where it goes talking about the 8-day payout requirement. Or 5 of the days has to be $50 profit. The rest could just be a flip in and out. And most people abuse this. Actually, like when they get denied a payout, they're first on mind and on social media usually. They talk about, oh, you just gotta trade 8 more days. Even you break every rule in the book here, you freaking do max size, you hit the negative 30% unrealized gain profit thing, where you can't lose more than 30% of your account. They break that. They break the scaling rule. They break, you name everything, and they'll just get denied the first payout. They trade 8 more days, and they can request again. So that should have been patched, like I feel like at the start, but they're doing it now. So there's gonna be punishment with that, and anything that violates the PA contract here. Here is the offending counts probation here. So temporary limitation on contract usage. I think this is very fair. If you're max contract, right, at the start, when you're not allowed to, you're gonna get probation, and they're gonna limit your contract. It could be 50%, maybe it could be lower, it could be 25%, or it could be just something, just basically limiting your contract because you broke maybe the scaling plan. Payout restricted to profits earned since the last request. What that basically means, I feel like, to me, my understanding of it is, if you got denied a payout because you broke rules and you made $5,000 on it, you're going to trade 8 more days, to go for the next payout. You're not going to be able to use that $5,000 to request. So if you just made 100, lost 100, made 100, lost 100, your break even $5,000. You don't have new profits to request. So this is a way that to combat anyone who just like thinks, oh, I broke a rule. Let me just trade 8 more days. Let me just go in and out, and then I'll get the money anyways. And then this is where it gets interesting. Disqualification of previously occurred windfall profits for withdrawal over the next payout cycle. So it's very similar to the first one. You can't really use the profits, but they're doing for 2 cycles now. So if you do like a big profit, like you just made $5,000 on that day, do a max contract, breaking every rule possible, and you keep on going, denied. If you try to request again, you can't really use that big windfall anymore here for 2 payouts this time. So yeah, there's an example of a trader under probation requests $2,000. They must show $2,000 in profits earned since the previous request. So in that case, like if they made already money, they are denied. They can't use that profits that was already denied. They got to be new profits here. Trader cannot draw from old windfall balances to meet that payout threshold. That's very, very interesting too. Damn, they're basically just nicking every cracks and corners who trying to like slip through. While these changes occur in small percentages of Apex accounts, their impact is substantial because once again they're claiming that Apex is losing millions to these bad actors. So they gotta step up here. And to reiterate, Apex would not join any SRO or participate in any data sharing agreements with the firm. That's a W. That is a big W. This whole email is just basically saying no to SRO, yes to basically crack down and purging all cheaters, all rule breakers, and now having the rightful punishment. Before, there was no punishment. He's like, you just trade 8 more days, get another payout. So there's nothing new in this thing. It just people are going to get punished for breaking any rules this time, which is I feel like this is also not that big of a deal. Because at the end of the day, you also keep your profits. Other firms, if you break a rule, they might just breach your whole funded. They might just take it away. So keep that in mind here. And then lastly, they closing this email with looking ahead. We're working to reduce extended activity in simulate trade environment. So basically, let's get traders out sim. Let's transition to the live trading environment. That's the goal. That's the goal for every prop firm. And they're trying to support traders in fully funded real market participants here. So over the next few weeks and months, this is going to be what's going to be rolling out. You're going to see people get denied for breaking rules. You're going to see people get punished. You're going to see people basically not be able to withdraw their profits because they broke the rule. They got to make new profits now. These are some examples. And maybe even people get basically terminated. They get banned because they keep on breaking these rules over and over. So yeah, so besides that, I also made a poll just to really ask the communities. I'm also very deep in the prop space. I've been trading prop for 3 years. I'm always basically in the mindset of adapt and thrive, which basically means whatever rules the prop firm does, you just got to adapt to it. Then you can thrive, essentially. So I'm just basically asking to into it here. Are you worried about Apex cracking down hard on rule breakers with more enforcement and punishment? And are you still planning to trade Apex? Here's a poll. Here's the numbers here. 445 votes. About more than 50% of people are saying not worried. Clean. That's great. That's like a lot of the people still saying they are not worried about this. This is like no rules being added. Only thing being added is more punishment to rule breakers. And the second part, trade them, but concern, still a good majority. And then you have the people saying stop. They're stopping Apex soon. Very small percentage. I feel like that's just because they're not understanding that this is not new rules. It's just more about trying to make it more sustainable. So if they need to get rid of these bad actors because they're paying millions upon millions to them and losing out on it, they're going to have a way to fix it. And just a fun fact for coincidence sake, last summer, 2024 of May, they also were in basically hit rock bottom. They've been just going up, 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 up. Best firm ever. This is where they started denying some payouts for more ambiguous reasons. People were a little concerned about it. And it took also a long time to even get approved or denied. This was basically May 27th here. They're also enforcing rules. With more rules, at the same time, they also proposed a new plan, which fast forward a year, this plan, basically most of it is already implemented. They were talking about no payout windows, which is great. If you guys remember, there's payout windows, and you can only request a payout like basically start of the month and middle of the month. You don't have that anymore. And it went from 10 trading days to 8 trading days. This is basically you're getting almost more than 2 payouts per month. Before you could only do 2 max, if even. And then no more flip and roll. This is also there's no rule breaks with this now because you got to just trade 8 days. 5 of them has to make at least $50 or less, more or less. The rest could be just in and out if you want micro to just log a day. They didn't really increase the 30 to 40% rule here. And then this is also implemented also here. So just a throwback here. Let's get back into it here. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Are you guys worried? Are you guys feeling like this is just like doesn't really affect you because you're just following rules, you get paid, do whatever you take? I'm more on the side with like this is nothing new. I trade Apex. I had my denials with them. I also had my big payouts with them. They're probably the biggest firm that paid me out in the lifetime. They probably take 50% of all payouts I earn. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.